Lecture. In this lecture, I am going to talk about the measures of dispersion, or you can say that variability. Previously, we have studied averages or measure of central tendency. It is possible that two or more sets of data may have the same average, that is mean, but their individual observations may differ considerably from the average. Thus, a value of central tendency does not adequately describe the data. We therefore need some additional information concerning with how the data are dispersed about the average. This is done by measuring the dispersion, by which we mean the extent to which the observation in a sample or in a population vary about the mean. बेसिकली डिस्पर्शन का मतलब ये होता है कि मीन से कितना डाटा जो है वो वेरिएट कर रहा है, ये जो है मेजर ऑफ वेरिएबिलिटी या डिस्पर्शन कहलाती है। जबकि जो सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी या मीन जो है और एवरेजेस वो जो है डाटा की सेंटर बताता है, तो इसलिए उसकी वेरिएशन जो हैं वो बहुत ज़रूरी हैं। Therefore, it is desirable to measure dispersion in the same units as observation. The dispersion should be zero when all the observations are equal. The variability is independent of origin, and when it is multiplied or divided by a constant when each observation or is multiplied or divided by a constant. It is desirable that it should satisfy the conditions similar to those laid down for average in previous chapter. There are two types of dispersion. One is absolute dispersion or scatter or variability, and the other one is relative dispersion or variability. The absolute dispersion is used when the dispersion is to be represented in the same units or the scale of units which is same as in which the data is described. For example, if the units of the data are in rupees, kilograms, etc., the units of measure of dispersion will also be in rupees, meters or kilogram. A relative measure of dispersion is one that is expressed in terms of ratio, coefficient or percentage and is independent of units of measurement. तो जब भी आपने अगर सेम यूनिट्स एज डाटा में जब आप करेंगे मेजरमेंट तो आप या स्केयर की फॉर्म में, तो वो जो है एब्सोल्यूट डिस्पर्शन होगी, जबकि रिलेटिव डिस्पर्शन जो होती है वो कोफिशिएंट की फॉर्म में, परसेंटेज की फॉर्म में या रेशो की फॉर्म में होगी। तो फिर जो है आप रिलेटिव डिस्पर्शन को डिस्कस करेंगे। और जब भी आपने डाटा को कंपेयर करना होता है तो फिर बाज़ औक़ात जो है रिलेटिव डिस्पर्शन, क्योंकि डायमेंशनलेस क्वांटिटी होती है, तो ये आपकी हेल्प कर सकती है। बहरहाल ये दोनों चीज़ें मिला के डिस्पर्शन और सेंट्रल टेंडेंसी मिला के किसी भी डाटा को जो है वो क्वालिफाई करते हैं फॉर डिफरेंट पर्पसेस। Measures of dispersion include four quantities that we are going to study in this video. First one is range. The second one is semi inter quartile range or simply quartile deviation. Third one is mean deviation, or it is also known as the average deviation. And the fourth and the most important is variance and standard deviation. These are major measures of dispersion, and first we would look into the range. Range is the difference between the largest and the smallest observation in a set of data. When you have ungrouped data, then the range is the largest minus the lowest observation, where xm is the maximum value and x naught is lowest value. This will give you the range of your data. And for the case of group data, the range is upper class boundary of the highest class minus lower class boundary of the lowest class. This will give you the range of your data for the case of group data, and this formula is for the case of ungrouped data. Range is very simple to calculate, but it has got two very serious disadvantages. First, it ignores all the information available from the intermediate observations. जो तमाम बीच वाली ऑब्जर्वेशंस हैं एक्सट्रीम्स को छोड़ के, उनके बारे में ये कोई ख़ास इंफॉर्मेशन कन्वे नहीं करता. एंड द सेकंड वन इज़ एज इट्स वैल्यू इज़ based only on two extremes observation, it might give a misleading picture of the spread of data. तो क्योंकि ये एक्सट्रीम्स के ऊपर बेस करता है, इसलिए स्प्रेड ऑफ डाटा का बारे में ये जो है वो क्लियर पिक्चर जो है वो नहीं पेश करता. जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया था कि हम दो तरह की मेजर्स करेंगे. एक जो है वो एब्सोल्यूट डिस्पर्शन को, दूसरा रिलेटिव डिस्पर्शन को मेजर करेंगे. सो टू कैलकुलेट दी relative dispersion in case of range, we can calculate the coefficient of dispersion. And coefficient of dispersion is xm minus x naught over xm plus x naught. This measure is for relative dispersion, and these quantities are related with absolute dispersion in terms of range. With its disadvantages, however, there are certain applications of range, such as you can want to know the stock prices at the end of the day, or what is the rate of 10 grams of gold, etc. And you can also want to see the variation in temperature, what was the minimum temperature of the day and what was the maximum temperature of the day. So it gives you some sort of pictures in certain applications. Next one is The second form of dispersion that we just mentioned is the semi interquartile range or the quartile deviation. This is our next measure of variation. Semi interquartile range SIQR or quartile deviation is basically the difference of third quartile and first quartile and average of it. And the third quartile, how to calculate the third quartile and the first quartile, I have already explained in my previous video, which was related to the measure of central tendency. Q3 and Q1 have different formulas for when the n by 2 and n by 4 and 3n by 4 are integers or not an integers, and it is different for the case of group data as well. However, if you want to see how you can calculate these quantities, you can see my previous video related to measure of central tendency. Quartile deviation is easy to calculate, and it gives you about the information about the 50% of the data which lies around the median. However, it doesn't give the information about the observation that lies outside the two quartiles, which is a clear disadvantage of it. जो observations Q1 और Q3 से इधर उधर लाई करती हैं, उनके बारे में क्वार्टाइल डेविएशन जो है वो इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं देता, तो ये इसका डिसएडवांटेज है। लेकिन ये रेंज से ज़्यादा आपको बेहतर जो है वो वेरिएशंस प्रोवाइड करता है। नाउ टू कैलकुलेट दी this is the absolute dispersion in terms of quartile dispersion. Now to calculate the relative dispersion in case of quartile deviation, we need to calculate the coefficient of quartile deviation, which is given by Q3 minus Q1 over Q3 plus Q1. This is the coefficient of quartile deviation, which is the measure of relative dispersion in terms of quartile range. To elaborate these points, let's look at an example. Marks obtained by 9 students are given below. Find the average, the coefficient of dispersion, quartile deviation, and coefficient of quartile deviation. First, we would arrange the data in an ascending order, or you can say in an increasing order. Now the data in ordered form would be 32, which is the lowest observation, 36, 36, 37, 39, 41, 45, 46 and 48. Now for the part 1, we want to calculate the range, and we need the highest and the lowest value. The highest value or the maximum value is 48 and the lowest value is 32, so the range would be 16. Now to calculate the coefficient of dispersion, it is given by xm minus x naught means 48 minus 32 over 48 plus 32. This would be 16 over 80 and it would be 1 over 5, right? This is the coefficient of dispersion for this particular case. To calculate the quartile deviation, which is q3 minus q1 over 2, I need to calculate the q1 and q3 for the given data. To calculate q1, first I need to see whether n by 4 is an integer or not. There are 9 observations, so 9 divided by 4 is 2.5. 2.5, which is not an integer. So the q1 could be calculated as n by 4 plus 1th observation, right? Which, as n by 4 is 2.5, which would be 2 plus 1, so it would be third observation, and third observation is 36. Now to calculate the q3, first I need to look at the 3n by 4, whether it is an integer or not. 3 into 9 is 27 over 4 is not an integer. Is not an integer. So q3 would be 3n by 4 plus 1th observation, which comes out to be the 8th observation. 3n by 4 is 27 over 4, 6 plus 1, 7th observation. And the 7th observation in this case 45. So since I know I have found out the q3 and q1, I can find out the quartile deviation by putting these values into the above equation, which is 45 minus q1 is 36 over 2, which comes out to be 4.5. Now in last part I have to calculate the coefficient of quartile deviation, which is q3 minus q1 over q3 plus q1. This would be 45 minus 36 over 45 plus 36, and it comes out to be 0.11, right? So these are different formulas and how you calculate basically these two types of dispersion. Next is the third form of dispersion, that is mean or average deviation, right? Mean or average deviation. The mean deviation of a set of data is defined as the arithmetic mean of the deviations measured either from the mean or from the median. All deviation being counted as positive, we disregard the algebraic sign, that is positive and negative, to avoid the difficulty arising from the property that the sum of deviations of the observation from their mean is 0. जब हम मीन डेविएशन कैलकुलेट करते हैं तो हम तमाम ऑब्जर्वेशंस को पॉजिटिव लेते हैं, पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव नहीं लेते, ताकि हमें जो है सम ऑफ डेविएशन ज़ीरो ना आए. और जो है वो ये हमें बताता है कि मीन से या मीडियन से कितनी जो है वो वैल्यूज़ डेविएट कर रही हैं. Now to calculate the mean deviation which is given by m dot d, for the case of sample data it is sum of xi minus x bar, which is the sample mean, over n is the number of observation. This is formula for sample data, right? And remember, it is the data in ungrouped form, and mean deviation for the case of population is summation xi minus mu, that is and its absolute values divided by capital N is the size of population. This is for the case of population data, right? For population data. Now when the data is given in terms of frequency distribution, or you can say in the form of group data, then the mean deviation is calculated by summation fi summation xi minus x bar, that is mean, over n. This is the formula for mean deviation when the it is given in terms of frequency distribution or in group data form. Mean deviation is a powerful tool as compared to interquartile range or the simple range because it includes all the data. However, there is a disadvantage of taking all the values as positive, which is against say mathematical rules and algebraic rules, because we take all the deviations from the mean or the median as positive. Therefore, one can say that it is it can be used in different forms. However, it is unsatisfactory for statistical inference, and for these are different measurements which are related with the absolute dispersion related with the mean deviation. To calculate the relative dispersion in case of mean deviation or average deviation, we calculate the coefficient of mean or average deviation, which is mean deviation divided by mean, or you can calculate it by mean deviation over median as well, right? These are two formulas. You can use any of these formulas to calculate the coefficient of mean deviation. To elaborate this third form of dispersion, I have taken an example. Calculate the mean deviation of the following frequency distribution showing the weight of apples. So to use the formula of mean deviation, I first need to calculate the midpoint of all these values, which would be represented by xi. So you add both these values and divide it by 2, you will get the midpoint, which I have written down as 74.5. It would be 94.5, 114.5, 134.5, 154.5, and 174.5 and 194.5. This is my xi. Now I also need to calculate the xi fi, which is given by multiply the xi with this fi, you will get these values: 945, 946.5, 1345, 770, 2.5, 698 and 972. Now to calculate this, I need to, this is once again a sample data, then I need xi minus x bar. So first I need to calculate the x bar or the mean of this. This would be given by summation fi xi over n, where n is summation fi. N, or I can also write it down as summation fi is sum of all these frequencies, and summation fi xi is sum of all these values, which would be 7350 over summation fi is 60. So the mean is 122.5. Now I have to minus x this mean from this xi, and I would get the values. This would be minus 48, this would be minus 28, this would be minus 8, this would be 12, 32, 52 and 72. Now to calculate the mean deviation, I can use the formula summation fi xi minus x bar sum over n. N would be summation fi in this case. N is equal to summation fi. So the sum of if I want to calculate this fi xi minus x bar, right, I can calculate over here, and it would be a positive quantity, right. This would now become 48 instead of minus 48, and I multiply it with the frequency. I would get these values as 432, 280, 136, 120, 160, 208 and 360. Now when I sum up all these values, it comes out to be 1696. So it would be 1696 divided by 60. So the coefficient, the mean deviation is 28.27 grams, right. Now to calculate the coefficient of mean deviation, I need mean deviation divided by its mean or median, right. Mean deviation is 28.27 and its mean is 122.5, and you can divide both these values and get the coefficient of mean deviation, which is measure of absolute dispersion, relative dispersion. Next is the last form of measure of dispersion, and that is the fourth one, variance and standard deviation, right. These are two very important forms of measure of dispersion. Variance of a set of observation is defined as the mean of square of deviations of all the observations from their mean, and the standard deviation is you can say the deviation on one side or the square root of the variance. So the variance for the case of population data is sum of the deviations about the sum of squares of the mean deviations. This is for the case of population data. This is sigma square is variance, and for the case of sample data it is given by S square, which is sum of xi minus x bar square over n. This is for the case of sample data. Now the standard deviation, which is the square root of the variance, the positive square root of the variance, could be written as standard deviation. This is variance, and the standard deviation for population data, it is represented by sigma, and it is under the root of summation xi minus mu square over n. This is for the case of population, and for the case of sample it is summation xi minus x bar square over n. First you have to take the square, then you have to sum them. Keep this thing in mind. This is for the case of sample data. And there is also a relation in which Pearson used n minus 1 instead of n, but you can use the n for it. For the case of frequency distribution or data group data, or for frequency distribution, this variance would be summation fi xi minus x bar square over n, which is summation fi, and the standard deviation would be under the root of summation fi xi minus x bar square over n. This is for the case of the group data or for the frequency distribution. Now all these quantities represents the absolute dispersion in terms of variance and standard deviation. Now to calculate the relative dispersion in terms of variance and or standard deviation, we can calculate the coefficient of standard deviation, which is standard deviation or S divided by its mean. This would be the coefficient of standard deviation, or it is also known as root mean square deviation, right? If this is instead of this x bar it is a, then it will be coefficient of standard deviation. And there are some other simplified formulas to calculate the these variance and standard deviation. You can also use the alternate formulas for the calculation of the variance and standard deviation, where variance for population represented by sigma square is given by summation xi square over n minus summation xi over n square, right? And similarly S square is given by summation xi square, this is for the case of sample, over n minus summation xi by n whole square, right? And the standard deviation would then be sigma is square root of summation xi square by n minus summation xi by n whole square, and standard deviation for the case of this sample data would be summation xi square by n small n minus summation xi by n small n whole square. These are the formulas for calculating the variance and standard deviation in terms of these formulas. And for the case of frequency distribution, or you can say as group data, the formulas for variance is S square is summation f x square by n minus summation fx by n whole square, right? And the variance or standard deviation in this case would be summation fx square by n minus summation fx by n whole square under the root. These are the different formulas you can use to calculate the variance and standard deviation. You can use either one of these formulas. You can either use these formulas, right, that are given over here, or you can use these formulas. Both of them would be considered as correct, and there is a proof of them as well in your textbook. Now let's do an example related with it. A population of n is equal to 10 has observation 7, 8, and these are given. Find its variance and standard deviation. First we would calculate the population mean, which is given by mu and which is summation x over n. So it would be summation x would be we will sum all these values, which comes out to be 170, and the population as given is 10, so the population mean is 17. Now to calculate these using the formulas, we need to first find out the xi. Xi are given as 7, 8, 10, 13, 14, 19, 20, 25, 26 and 28. Now we have calculated the mu. The xi minus mu would be 7 minus 10 would be minus 17 would be minus 10, 8 minus 17 would be minus 9, minus 7, minus 4, minus 3, and plus 2, 3, 8, it would be 9 and 11. Now we need to look at the xi minus mu square. This would, all these quantities would be positive. This would be 100, and this would be 81, 49, 16, 9, 4, 9, 64, 81 and 121. And I also need the sum of these values, which comes out to be 534, right? So if I use the formula to calculate the variance, which is for the case of population, it is sigma square. This is summation xi minus mu whole square over n, and this sum is given as 534 and divided by n, which is 10, comes out to be 53.4. And to calculate its standard deviation sigma, I need to take under root of this variance. This comes out to be 7.31. Now if I want to calculate the sigma square using the other formulas, the other formula is given by sigma square is summation xi square over n minus summation xi over n whole square. Now I would be calculating then xi square. Xi square would be, in this case it would be this is my xi, this would be 49, 64, 100 and 169 and 196, 361, 400, then it would be 625, 676 and 784, and I need the sum of these squares, which comes out to be 3424. Now the sigma square using this formula would be 3424 by 10 minus sum of xi, I can calculate over here, which comes out to be 170 over 170 over 10 square. So the sigma square in this case comes out to be 53.4 as well, and you can calculate the sigma by taking the under root of 53.4, which is 7.3, right? So you can calculate these using any of these formulas and the result would be same. For the case of group data or frequency distribution, you can take the example that I have already solved for mean deviation and calculate its variance and standard deviation using the formulas that I have already explained in this lecture. So you can use this data or any other data to calculate this one. However, I would like to move forward and interpret the standard deviation in a very useful manner, because it's not that easy like that of a mean. So the interpretation of standard deviation is very important, right? It could be considered as a balancing point for the distribution. A smaller value of standard deviation indicates that most of the observation and set of data are close, and while the large value implies that the observations are scattered and widely about the mean. स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन की स्मॉलर वैल्यूज़ का ये मतलब होता है कि जो मीन से डेविएशन है वो बहुत कम है वैल्यूज़ की, और अगर लार्ज वैल्यू है तो इसका मतलब है कि मीन से डेविएशन बहुत लार्ज है। और इसी डेविएशन को एक रशियन साइंटिस्ट चेबीशेव ने जो है अपना एक रूल दिया था जिसे चेबीशेव रूल कहते हैं। एंड नाउ वी वुड लुक एट द चेबीशेव्स rule, right? Chebyshev proposed that for any set of data the interval x minus ks x is the mean, k is some number, and s is the standard deviation. 2x plus ks, where k is any number greater than 1, right? It could be x plus 1s, x plus 2s, or x minus 1s, x plus 2s, contains at least the fraction 1 minus 1 by k square of the data. This is very important result which is given by Chebyshev, that for any set of data the interval x minus ks to x plus ks, where k is any number greater than 1, contains at least the fraction 1 minus 1 by k square of the data. Suppose we have x plus 2s and x bar plus 2s and x bar minus 2s, or minus plus plus minus, right? Then it should contain, the k would be 2 in this case, it would be 1 minus 1 by 2 square, so it would contain 3 by 4 of the data, right? And when we have x plus 3s, then it contains 8 by 9 of the data. So this rule applies to any distribution and guarantees the inclusion of minimum fraction of the data in the constructive interval, whereas the actual fraction of the data included will exceed 1 minus 1 by k square. So this is very important result while interpreting the standard deviation. इससे आपको ये पता चल जाएगा कि आप मीन से अगर इतना डेविएट करें तो इसमें तकरीबन इतना डाटा लाए करेगा. अगर मैं मीन से जो है वो अगर 2 टाइम्स ऑफ स्टैंडर्ड डेविएशन डेविएट करूं तो इसका मतलब है कि मैंने अपने 3/4 मीन के 75% ऑफ द डाटा को इंक्लूड कर लिया. होपफुली यू हैव understood all the different points that have been discussed in this lecture. However, the properties of variance and standard deviation are still remaining, and I would be back soon with another lecture which is related with the moments, kurtosis and skewness, along with the different properties of variance and standard deviation. Thank you all.